Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Greenberg. Clerk, please call the roll.
Greenberg.
Here.
Hicks. Here. Mako is absent. Chapeka is absent. Siriano.
Here.
Tamarkin.
Here.
Wester.
Here. We have no corrections or additions to the agenda.
Correct.
The approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved by Hicks.
Second, Tamarkin.
We have a motion by Mr. Hicks and a second by Mr. Tamarkin to approve the minutes. Clerk, please call the roll.
Hicks.
Yes.
Tamarkin.
Yes.
Siriano.
Yes.
Wester.
Yes,
Greenberg.
Abstain.
the motion passes. The city attorney will swear in our speakers this evening. I noticed a person just walked in. Are you with the variance tonight? Okay.
Okay. Please stand to be sworn in. Well, I didn't do my spiel yet. Never mind. Sit down just for a minute. I'll get to you. We are now at the public hearing portion of the meeting. The public hearing will operate as follows. Administrative staff will make a presentation or comment on the application. The applicant or their representative may then make a presentation or comment on the application. Public comment that will then be open for 3 minutes allowed per speaker. Additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. Speakers must complete a speaker slip and come to the podium and state their name. The applicant will then be given 10 minutes to comment. Additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. If there is more than one application pending for a particular address, the presentation on each application may be consolidated and presented as one. At this time, will persons wishing to present testimony this evening please rise and raise your right hand to be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state I do. Thank you.
Okay, we're now at the applications part. We are hearing variance 0013-2023 to consider a variance application to vary section 1141.08A, yard requirements of the codified ordinance of the city of Gahanna for property located at 709 Park Edge Drive, parcel ID 025-007-589, current zoning SF2. Jessica Johnson, applicant. The administration will now give a presentation.
This is an application for a variance for a reduced front yard setback for a property on Park Edge Drive. Here is a location and zoning map for the area. All sites within the subdivision are zoned SF2 single family. The site in question is under the red star, and Big Walnut Creek runs through the rear of the property, so it's mostly located within a floodplain, which is why it remains undeveloped. The applicant is requesting approval of a variance to reduce the front yard setback from 40 feet to 35 feet for the construction of a new house. The 40-foot setback applies to all sites that are zoned SF2. However, the setback used to be 35 feet for the zoning designation, but was increased to 40 feet in 2007 through a zoning amendment. All other homes that are currently constructed in the neighborhood were constructed when the setback was 35 feet. The applicant has stated that granting the variance will allow for the home to be built outside of a 100-year floodplain. The application was reviewed by various city staff and departments, and there were no objections, including from engineering. Big Walnut Creek runs through the rear of the site, and the site is located within both a 100-year and 500-year floodplain. Any land located within a 100-year floodplain has a 1% chance of flooding each year, versus any land within a 500-year floodplain has a 0.2% chance of flooding each year. Structures located within the 100-year floodplain are subject to additional costs and a higher risk of flooding. With the granting of the variance, the structure would only encroach into the 500-year floodplain, which is consistent with the surrounding properties. Here is a FEMA floodplain map that shows the floodplains in the area. Anything marked as Zone AE is within the 100-year floodplain, and the orange area on the eastern portion of the site is the 500-year floodplain. As you can see, all other houses that were constructed along Park Edge Drive encroach only into the 500-year floodplain and not into the 100-year floodplain. It's also worth noting that the site in question is covered by more of a floodplain than the adjacent properties, which is why it is still undeveloped today. This is a site plan that was provided by the applicant. The proposed structure is in green. The red line is the proposed 35-foot setback. The yellow line shows the easternmost boundary of the 500-year floodplain, and the blue line shows the easternmost boundary of the 100-year floodplain. The standard side yard setbacks for all sites zoned SF2 is 10 feet, but the site also has a 20-foot easement from the north property line, which decreases the buildable area even further. The site as a whole is around 2.5 acres, and taking into account the 100-year floodplain, the setbacks, and the easement, the buildable area on the site is only about 8% of the site. Here are the existing conditions of the site. And then while the application is only for a variance and does not take any design into account, the applicant did provide a few renderings, 2 of which are shown here. This is the variance criteria for the application. The first is that there are special circumstances or conditions applying to the land, building, or use. Second is the granting of the variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of property rights. And the third is that the granting of the application will not have any detrimental effects to public welfare or the surrounding area. Staff recommends approval of the variance as submitted. The floodplain as well as the easement create special circumstances for the site that have made it very difficult to develop. Reducing the setback to 35 feet would allow for the site to be consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. The request is very minor in nature as it's only a reduction of 5 feet, and staff believes that the variance will not have any negative effects on the surrounding area. And with that, I turn it back to the commission.
Thank you. We will now open for public comment. Would the applicant like to comment? Ms. Johnson?
Thank you guys for hearing it. I think you did an amazing job, and I'm available for any questions.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Sorry, Jessica Johnson. Current address is 90 Southwind Drive, Gahanna, Ohio, 43230.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions for the applicant? Since there's no one in the audience that would comment, would the applicant doesn't have anything to respond to? We'll close public comment. Any questions from the commission? Mr. Tamarkin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking at Google Earth, it looks to me like the adjacent properties to the north and to the south are developed. So the only lot, it's hard to tell where the lot lines, but I assume the undeveloped is all your lot?
Yes.
And the 500-year floodplain that comes up also encroaches on all the other properties along the street. I guess that's probably for Maddie. So what we're asking for this, as far as the floodplain, is consistent with the neighboring properties, and the neighboring properties also were developed with the 35-foot setback.
Correct.
Okay. I guess those aren't questions. I was just thinking and talking out loud, but trying to determine again that what I see here, the piece of property is just one lot that is undeveloped. my only questions.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion for V 0013-2023?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve item V-0013-2023.
Second, Suriano.
Any discussion on the motion?
I'm in favor of the variance, given the consistency with the neighboring properties and a lot of the points that staff's outlining, given that 8% of the properties, I would consider, 8% of the property is considered developable by whatever zoning stipulations we have, I think presents a significant hardship. So I'm in favor of the variance.
Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Hicks,
Yes.
Suriano,
Yes.
Tamarkin,
Yes.
Wester,
Yes.
Greenberg,
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Almost painless, right?
It's a cool house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we have no unfinished business. Any new business? Okay, we're at special reports from the city attorney,
Nothing to report at this time, Mr. Chair.
director of planning. You have 3 minutes.
I won't even need that. Nothing from Director of Planning other than Maddie's already far superior than I am at giving presentations, so this might be the last time you see me, I don't know. Fight for my job here a little bit. So nothing, but from a council perspective, I would just share that earlier this week, as council liaison, we did have the rezoning for the Crescent multifamily that we saw just a week or two ago. That looks to be heading in a direction that's going to facilitate some new development there in the Crescent and Central Park. I think that should be through the council process in mid-June. So that's exciting in that. And the zoning code changes that we all talked about in March and April, those will be up for a public hearing and hopefully adopted here June 5th. That's my council update. Thank you.
Thank you. The mayor is absent. The chair has no comments. Clerk, do we have any correspondence and actions?
No, sir.
Thank you. Poll the members for comments. Mr. Greenberg?
I'd just like to say Maddie did a great job. We could hear her, which is great, and it was very concise and well put together presentation. So thank you.
Mr. Suriano?
No comments.
Mr. Tamarkin?
No comments.
Mr. Hicks?
No comments.
Do I have a move for agenda or for adjournment?
So moved.
This is, Tom should be chair all the time, and Maddie should speak on behalf of planning, and we'll have nothing but 15 minutes.